Hi everybody, this is a car cast, I guess. It's an audio cast catching everybody up what we're doing this coming season for our fantasy league. So there's nothing to watch, so carry on with Facebook or whatnot. Currently there's a draft date poll on Facebook to see what time we're doing the draft. I think right now it's Thursday, whatever that first Thursday in March is. It's going to be at 7 p.m. If someone has a problem where they can't make that time, let me know. Again, that's going to be done on the ESPN. If you are going to do it on an app, you have to install the ESPN drafting app. I don't know what that's called, but you can't do the straight up ESPN Fantasy Baseball app and think you're going to be able to draft from that. You can't. So that's the important date number one. You can set your auto draft pre-ranking, but if you have a problem that you want to make sure that you're there online but you can't make it, let me know and we'll work on that. Second important date is that there's a trade deadline date this year, and I don't have it in front of me. I'm driving my car, but just be aware of it. Look it up. I think we had it last year, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the other important date. The last important date is Valentine's Day 2017. That is the date in which the players you select to keep from this year get held over for your team in 2017, because we are currently a keeper league. We are not keeping any players from 2015. You don't get any of those players. So starting this year, whether that affects your draft or not, we will start to keep two players, at least from 16 to 17, two players that you get to keep. I anticipate that number will increase slowly every year until about a quarter of your team comes from a keeper league. But so far, from 2016 to 2017, two players. Because we are a keeper league, and I don't know why, just because we're a keeper league, that now we can do this, but you can trade your draft pick order. The draft order is select. I think Becca is first. I know Swenson is second. So, for example, Swenson has the second pick, but let's say he wants to trade down for whatever reason. He is now, before the draft, going to be able to make trades about draft picks. I think it's 1 for 1. I don't think you can trade 2 for 1 and then just get another one at the end. I don't think that's going to work. I think it has to be 1 to 1. But you can trade draft picks. So if that interests you at all, go ham, because you can do it now. And for some reason, when you were a keeper league before, you couldn't do it, but now that we are, we can. I guess maybe thinking that it helps your draft strategy more if you're in a keeper league to work on your draft pick order. So that's that. All the stuff about the keeper league, that's that. Again, we're not keeping any players from 2015. Moving on to scoring and positions and all that. We didn't change any scoring from last year to this year, which I think this is the first year. It took us 7 years to play with the ESPN standard to create what I think is pretty darn close to giving the most points to the best team. So everything's going to be the same. You're going to get a point for a third inning. You're going to get a point for a strikeout. You're going to get 4 points for a home run plus your RBI on your run scored. All that's the same. So if you want to look at that, it's the same. In regards to pitching caps, now let's remember it's going to be the same. In your typical 7-day matchup, you get 6 starts. You still only have 5 pitching slots. So one of your pitchers gets 2 starts. If you leave all of your slots filled with your 5 pitchers, one of your pitcher has 2 starts, they get that second start counts. Now, if you've got 2 pitchers that have 2 starts, so you have a total of 7 starts in the week, it will be the first 6 starts. So if Dallas Keuchel and Clayton Kershaw both start a 2-week matchup, and you've filled your slots with 5 starters, and Dallas Keuchel pitches on the East Coast at 6, and Kershaw's pitching at home at 10, Eastern time, I guess. Keuchels will count, and so will Kershaw's, because I just had to think about that. So it's your first 6 starts. It's your first 6 days of starts, really. So if on the day of your 6th start, usually it's that last Sunday, but you have 3 starts, that's going to put you at 8 starts, all 8 of them count. Because it's not going to say, oh, Keuchel started pitching first, his start is going to count, but Kershaw, who pitched on the same day and is going to be your 7th, he doesn't count. Doesn't count. That's a false statement. All of them in that day is going to count. So you might have, I remember a lot of days where, Spencer would rig it so you'd have 8 starts. Not saying I wouldn't either, but, so it's a strategy that I think everyone should be aware of. I don't think anyone is not privy to that information. So you get 6 starts in a 7-day period with 5 pitching slots. Everything else is the same in terms of we're not adding any more players. We're keeping as many outfielders as we have. So that's all that. And, pretty much all your regular season stuff is done. Postseason is going to be exactly the same. 6 teams out of 12 is going to make it. I swear that a team under 500 is not going to make it. 6 teams make it. 6 teams contribute $20 each for a total of $120. That's going to go towards the Founders Cup purchase. And what we're going to do is a $5 buy-in for all teams at the beginning of the year. That's going to raise $60. That money, included with the $120 that is gained from the 6 teams paying $20 at the end of the year that make the playoffs, is going to give us $180. That money is going to go towards, if you've read the pay schedule on Facebook, there's prize money to go out for the All-Star break. I think who scores the most or something like that. Which team improves the most from month to month? That's going to go over a 4-month period. Whichever team in month 1 has winning percentage X, if they improve that winning percentage the most in month 2, they will receive $10. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I'll work on that. And then there will also be prize money to teams that finish at least first and second and the consolation prize. So if you win the consolation bracket, which means you didn't make the playoffs, but you won all the weeks that is not the regular season, and you end up 5th overall, which not only means you get first round draft pick, but you will also get a prize. I'm not sure what that's going to be so far, but so far we're looking for 3 end of the year awards: the champion, the 2nd place, and the winner of the consolation bracket. It's an incentive to keep people in it, even though they don't make the playoffs, which they should, because with the inverted draft process, a team should be in it all the way to improve their draft order. But to each their own, I guess. Another thing I want to bring up is we're going to have a podcast schedule. If anybody wants to join that podcast schedule, let me know. And they will be given a week. The owners are in it. One owner will be picked for a certain week, and they will have 3 topics that they can talk about. They can talk about all, some, or none, but just 3 guidelines. Usually it's about the state of baseball, MLB as a league. Usually a hot topic about baseball, Pete Rose, women in baseball, expansion in baseball, something of that sort, and something about current MLB standings, games, players. So you can pick one or any of those. Again, if you're interested, please message me. I know we've got 4 so far, and it would be great to have a lot to keep people interested. I want to welcome our newest owner. We only lost 1 owner between last year and this year, and that's got to be a record. I swear, usually we're trying to find 3 or 4 people. I think it is great that David and Garrett and Gage are such engaged owners. Pat had a lot of success last year. Garrett did. David and Gage did not. But I want to welcome our newest owner, former owner, Jacqueline Jewett, and her boyfriend, Kyle. And Jacqueline's a good Cub fan, so David will appreciate it. Kyle is a Royal fan, and not just a bandwagon Royal fan. I mean, this guy talks about when they used to wear black jerseys. So that just goes to show you've got to be a pretty good fan of the Royals. But good baseball fans. Happy to have them. Jacqueline was an owner a few years ago. And, man, a couple that both like baseball. It should be a lot of fun. Which ties into divisions now that I think about it. You may be looking at your division and thinking, what the heck, they rigged the system. And I swear, I try everything in my power not to rig the system. To the fact that it almost looks like I'm a communist. But I didn't buy the idea that so much of your schedule should be based on your rival. When your rival was essentially a personal friend or association with you that really had nothing to do with your skill level or anything. So we changed it. We put you in a division. There's 4 divisions of 3, and you don't play. You only play the people in your division once, which I see the issue with. I do. I get it. But your schedule is actually flighted. And that's just, it is. It is created to keep people in it longer. Every year, I have an app that says strength of schedule that breaks down a lot of our statistics that, I got a Google Play gift card is actually why I have it. And I think this way, the strength of schedule is going to really even it out so that people get a palpable schedule. It is very hard to justify, and this is just the way it is. Very hard to justify, say, Lizzie should play Andy 6 times because that's the way the schedule says. That's an unfair idea. Just is. Andy is ruthless and a hard owner, and that's unfair. So we balanced it more, not artificially. It's not, I think, we really sat down and thought about it. So you're going to see that you're going to play some people more, but you're going to play everyone at least once. The people in your division may look unequal to you, but their schedules are flighted as such that it will balance out. You're just going to have to trust me. It's much more even than it was last year because you're not going to be playing one person that's going to come for a third of your standings. This is going to be much more like interleague baseball, just in your division, in which there's going to be a lot of hype that you win that one matchup in your division. Well, I guess 2 because you're playing each team twice or once. If anyone has questions about the schedule, feel free to ask. I really think this is the best model we've come up with. And I think this actually creates a system where you're going to be in your division with those teams for numerous years. I don't foresee any turnover for quite some time, and I would love to say, you know what, I can't even think of the divisions as it's been such a hectic week. X has been playing Y for the last 3 years, and this is the matchup in that division. And the winner of this game has won the division X percentage of times. I really think this sets up for good long-term success with this schedule, with the way the divisions, and with the way the system's flighted. It's actually going to help us find better owners if we do have turnover. The next thing I want to bring up is events. I wanted to have a casino draft night. It was super important to me that worked out. It didn't work out. Part of it was the money thing. Treasure Island, Mystic Lake was less than hospitable. And Treasure Island wanted the money first, and I know we couldn't get it in the amount of time, and we're still all, for the most part, we are in college, and that makes it harder. But it bothers me that Pat Cater doesn't know who Pete Marsnick is, and that owners don't know each other. I know everybody, and I just think everyone should know each other. That's important. I think we're going to have a Minnesota Twins game that we're all going to try to go to, and there doesn't have to be a minimum. Spencer, Alex, Becca, and I are going to be there, and everyone is more than welcome to come, and please join us. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to set a date early on to say that this is what we're going to do. This is the game we're going to go to. If you want to come, let me know. On X day, we're going to buy the tickets. I talked to a few owners about a league contract. That's a big thing. In the show The League, by the way, if you haven't watched it, it is an excellent show. It's hysterical. They're in their final year. But they have a league contract, and it makes sense, and I really like it. But it's kind of badgering, condescending. Baseball's so long that that's kind of an asshole thing to do. So I'm just going to tell you the one big thing that I wanted out of the contract. I think every team should be required to have a logo. If you don't know, because of whatever reason, I make league notes all the time that update people what's going on, and I think every team should have a logo. So if you could do the league the courtesy of having a logo, and I don't even care if you use that ESPN generated hat or that ESPN generated letter, or hell, I think Alex still uses an old Toronto logo that you can just select on the ESPN page. You don't have to be creative. Just get a logo. Andy, he just got St. Cloud, the letters, in a script of some sort. That's fine. It's super appreciated. I just think everyone should have to do it. It makes making the league notes better. It builds up some drama. I mean, it's cool. I think the last thing I want to tackle is just a small issue that came up, not just one owner, but a couple owners at the end of the year survey, was about trades. They were very frustrated that some owners were receiving trade offers and not even getting a response. And I get it. ESPN app and a webpage doesn't make it easy to even see that you have a trade offer. When you go onto my team under lineup, there's a time clock, I believe, or a stopwatch or something. You click on that and it shows your trade offer. If not, go to the league homepage. To the right, it will say trade proposals. And just respond to it. If you're an owner that's made a trade offer and hasn't gotten a response, you can let me know and I can try to get a hold of them. Some are hooked up to their email, but if you're like me, the email that your league is, that your team name is associated with, isn't a relevant email, which I get it. So just let me know and we can not just track them down. I don't think there's anything wrong with not responding to them, but it's nice to know what owners don't want to participate using the draft. Again, just remember there's a trade deadline this year. I think there was last year. And the reason why, a lot of people say, well, why do we have a trade deadline? Is because we're a keeper league now. And because we're a keeper league, yeah, it's going to screw with our parity. I, more than anybody else, am bothered by that fact, but the benefits outweigh the risks. But it's like September. It's like late August or early September or even mid-September at this trade deadline. It's the last possible day. And owners need to decide if they're going to be good this year and risk it all, risk it for the biscuit, or try it next year. And it is unwise to not have a trade deadline. Let owners keep their somewhat crappy team and not make the playoffs, and then not have pieces for next year. We need to create a benchmark to say, hey, you need to start thinking about next year if you're not going to make it. Teams on the bubble, I mean, look at Alex, Lizzie, and Spencer last year were on the cusp of making the playoffs. They came down to 3 points. Came to Neil Walker not getting a double and a run scored, or a double and an RBI. So teams even relatively on the bubble should stay in it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying teams like, let's be frank, Gage, you were kind of out of it early on. Now with the keeper league, has to say, you're right, I'm crappy, and I'm going to go out and get Carlos Correa. If anybody has any ideas, this will be the last thing I said, about what we can improve. As always, I am the most receptive person to that information. Even if you just want to give advice on what we shouldn't do, even if it's not an idea, if you want to send me a message about, by the way, even if it's in the twinkle of your eye to have 16 teams, don't do it. It's a bad idea. If someone just wants to shoot me that message, just let me know, because I'm thinking of stuff all the time and I love to have feedback before I've even asked a question. More preferably, because apparently preferably is a range, if you have ideas that we should do or comments on things that have been brought up, proposals, also let me know. For example, I think we should group together and get some sort of league shirt on custom ink. I think it's a good idea. I, of course, think the logo is the world's greatest thing, but I think we should all get a t-shirt with it. But any opinion on any of those, what we should do differently, what we should add, what we should subtract, let me know. Subsequently, if you're 3 matchups into it and you see an injustice in the scoring, this happened, I don't think it was last year, I think it was 2 years ago. Alex Swenson, who knew he was going to get an extra loss by doing this, said that we were including infield assists. And I was thinking infield assists like outfield assists, where you throw somebody out at home. But no, infield assists is Ricky Weeks getting a ground ball and throwing it to first. Infield assist. We were giving them points for that. So, like Ricky Weeks had twice the amount of points as Ryan Braun. Yeah, it must have been 2 years ago. And Alex was like, this is not correct. This is not correct. And we changed it right away. And that makes it retroactive. If you make a change on ESPN Fantasy Baseball, it makes it retroactive to the beginning of the year. If you see an injustice like that, let me know. It's a big deal. We are not the league that says, well, we'll fix it next year because we're already halfway through the year. Screw that. The best teams should get the points, even if we've decided halfway through the year that that's a bad idea. Again, David, I am sorry that you're not going to be able to keep your wealth of rookies, but you're just going to have that game plan for next year. I hope everyone has a great year. I hope to see everyone at the draft bright and early at 7 p.m. Go baseball. You know, the Brewers are going to be bad. The Twins might be pretty good. But you know what? We can't keep talking about Buxton and him not being the complete package. I don't buy that idea. You know, when we were talking about Bryce Harper and Mike Trout, they were as good as advertised right out of the box. And the Twins have the best infrastructure farm team-wise than any team in the league. And so he should be polished out of the bat. But the Brewers are going to be bad. The Cubs are, in my opinion, win the World Series. So I think it's quite a shift. I mean, who would have thought the top 10 teams would include the Texas Rangers, the Cleveland Indians, the Kansas City Royals, the Houston Astros? Not I. Not I. Who would have thought the American League would be so much better than the National League? So keep your eye on baseball. If baseball gets slow, fantasy baseball is always exciting. Have a good one. Draft safely. Bye.